So I just didn't say nothing else. I just filled out 2 blocks and I gave it to her. I signed it and I gave it to her. It was not sealed. She supposed to have sealed it. She said she was going to seal it, but she never sealed it in front of me. And it never got turned in.
Accusations of stolen votes in a contested North Carolina congressional race. Now there are calls for a new election. They're gaining ground because of fraud and irregularities related to absentee mail ballots. The Democratic candidate, Dan McCready, has already withdrawn his concession to Republican Mark Harris, separating at the moment 905 votes. Here's McCready earlier on AM Joy.
This really is not about me. It's not even about Mark Harris. This is much bigger than one single election. This is about people whose voices were taken from them, people whose voices were silenced. You know, your vote is your voice in our democracy.
Just yesterday, a member of the Bladen County Board of Elections resigned, and the state election board has named a political operative who collected absentee ballots from voters in that county where votes are in question as a person of interest. Joining us now is the executive director of the Republican Party in North Carolina, Dallas Woodhouse. Dallas, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We're in the middle of a snowstorm, an election storm. We're just sitting around here waiting for the locusts next.
The locusts, we hope, are not next, and I do hope you do well, though, because we've been watching the reports, Dallas, about the snow that is hitting North Carolina today. To what is at hand here, what is the very latest that you understand in the investigation into the very question of the validity of this election? What have you learned in the last 24 hours?
Well, let me just say that I very much agree with the Democrat candidate, Mr. McCready, in the comments you just aired. This, to us, is so much bigger now than this one congressional race. We have a systematic failure in North Carolina. The North Carolina Republican Party filed a complaint about Bladen County absentee ballot milling in 2016. Nothing happened. There have been multiple complaints filed through the years. State, federal, local prosecutors, the Board of Elections have not been able to do anything about this for years, and the problem has grown. And it's only the significant media sunlight that has finally blown this thing open. And it's only with years of media coverage holding everybody accountable, that includes the Republican Party, the Democrats, the elected officials, everybody, the prosecutors, can we end this scourge of our democracy.
So if you were to take on a nonpartisan approach to this, then what is the solution? As I was just mentioning, one of the board members has left, resigned, Jen Luntz, right? Jen's Luntz, and that just coming out.
The Democrat board member resigned.
That's right, has resigned, right? And also from what I was just saying, a political operative who collected ballots from voters, now part of looking into what has happened. It seems like there are still a lot of potential pieces of mud to be thrown both ways.
Well, I think we all have a responsibility for this. You know, we've racked our brains to see what we could have done different. I'm horrified. The entire North Carolina Republican Party is horrified if any of these political mercenaries, and that's what they are, they're political mercenaries. They don't care who wins or who loses. They just care about getting paid. You know, destroyed anybody's vote, stole anybody's vote. And by the way, those people need to serve through the second Pence administration in a federal prison, likely for civil rights violations. You know, we've got to fix this. It's going to take years of work, bipartisan work. You know, what's next for the race? A lot of people have already called for a new election.
Would you agree with that? You said no, well, I think, in the past?
Yeah, not quite, because here's the reality. Yeah. The federal courts would not allow us to call a new election yet, because as good and credible as the media reports are, we have to hear from the investigators, and we have to have a good, legitimate reason based on the number of votes that could have been changed to throw out 286,000 people's legitimately cast votes. And that's the balance. And so we just, you know, we have to wait to what the Board of Elections says. But no matter what, two other things have to happen. There has to be a serious focus on the criminal investigations, both state and federal, of the people involved in this. and there has to be a detailed public accounting about how this problem has festered for over a decade, and the state has been unable to do anything about it.
Dallas, talking about the state then, do you support, do you believe in the process that's in place right now? December 21 is right in front of you. You're alluding to what the state might be doing, and during that evidentiary hearing, the state board plans to listen to this and potentially make some sort of decision here.
Well, I'm taking a wait-and-see attitude. We were extremely upset and had a very visceral reaction when this was dropped on us. We thought it was a normal certification. The Democrat candidate had conceded. No election protest had been filed. There was all the local boards of election had certified the race, and the board has acted in a very untransparent way. But however we got here, we are here now. We need a full public accounting of the facts, no matter how long it takes. And then we answer the question of certification. We have a long, difficult road to go, but the truth of it is this has got to continue long past we make the decision of a new election, long after we seat somebody in the 9th congressional district. We've had systematic failures in North Carolina for over a decade, and we have a cultural problem down in that area of the state. Problems with illiteracy. That's one reason people turn their ballots over. Problems with drug abuse, opioids. You know,
Dallas, I just want to get back
to the unintentional death rate over drugs in that area is 29% higher than the state. And we just have a cultural problem.
I want to get to the very question at hand: is should there be a new election? The Democrat and the Republican open to this. Are you saying you're also open to this then?
Absolutely. We are open when we see the facts. Again, I think the media's done an incredible job here. We thank them for that. But we can't throw out 286,000 votes just based on media reports. We've got to get the nonpartisan investigators to come forward, tell what they know.
Yep.
And if the evidence justifies a new election, then we should have one. I think it may show that the Board of Elections hasn't had enough time yet to determine whether this fraud or these ballot mishandling could have affected the outcome of the race. And if they don't know, they should keep investigating until they do.
All right, great. Dallas Woodhouse, thank you so much.
Thank you for MSNBC's great work on this. We need sunlight for years on us.
And I'm glad you're bringing attention to it, sir. And I hope, as you said earlier, that you do well through this storm. As you know, when you get snow and storms of this size going through the South.